I just um I
So
just
yes,
concluded my program in cybersecurity. Still searching for a job now.
interesting. Which school did you go to?
As in college, Canada. As in college.
Nice to have you here. So you're just in the job in the market right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will work
Thank
out.
you. Yeah.
Good to have you here.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. I can
Hi,
see. Yeah, go ahead.
my name is Teslim Abbas. I finished my cybersecurity last year, December. So I'm just looking for a job now. So I'm here for enterprise framework and just to know more in the industry before I get into the. So I finished from Asden College last year.
Oh, oh, okay. Oh, so do you know the last speaker? Like, did you finish together or
And no, we might not be the same
Uh,
set, so I
I
don't know.
finished. I think I finished 2023. Yeah,
oh,
Yeah, well,
2023.
you
Yeah.
mean
2 years ago?
I finished
Yeah.
2024, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting. It's good to have. So your college is having a good representation here. That's good. Good to be
Thank you.
part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome. And I know, yeah, I'm just we're currently working together. Oh, at least we just started, right?
Yeah, I just started even my onboarding, I've not even done my onboarding because
Oh, I
I
thought you
just
did
finished
yesterday.
the I just finished the payment yesterday and then like I
Okay.
said last time when we did the meeting, remember? So
Yes.
I just finished the onboarding. I mean, I just did my payment yesterday. I'm still going to tell them the time I'm going to have the onboarding. So, but I
Okay,
registered
that's good.
myself in the school already. Yeah.
Perfect. That's perfect. You're taking the right steps forward then. So yeah, it wouldn't take long now. It wouldn't take long. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
We have 14 people in. We're expecting a lot more than that. But we're already 8 minutes in. I'll just say, let's get started. We're recording. So let's get started. For the oldies, this is not new. New name, but it's not new. For the sake of those that are new here, I'll just do like some formal introduction, just so you know, this is not a lecture. It's not me teaching. It's us learning from each other. It's more like a chat, like a coffee chat, like my friend would say. It's a coffee chat. So I'll read something from I'm just reading from the screen now. So if I sound too formal, don't feel like, oh, what's going on here? So welcome everyone to the Cybersecurity and AI Insights session brought to you by Marshall Technology. That's the name of our company. For the oldies, you're probably wondering what does that mean? So you remember the cyber practice session, we used to have it monthly. Now that's a space for professionals to sharpen their skills, connect around cybersecurity topics. We're bringing it back, but in a different shape because the world has evolved, right? So AI has touched, if it hasn't touched your, in fact, I'll be surprised if it hasn't touched your work yet. So it has changed everything and it is changing the world of cybersecurity as we know it. So we've expanded the scope of the cyber practice sessions because it's still monthly conversations around topics in the world of cybersecurity. Now we have incorporated AI into it because it is changing the world as we know it. So nothing is changing in terms of the format. It's still gonna be us having chats around these topics, but the expansion is really the biggest difference right now. So we're expanding the scope of it to include AI risks, how things are imagined in the world, how AI is moving things faster than we thought it would ever move. So for the sake of the newbies as well, I would also introduce who we are, what's Marshall Technology. You saw this advert, you registered for the session and you joined. Who are we really?
You got your mouth already?
Marshall Technology, our
Mhm.
vision or our mission has always
Okay,
been
I'm
to
just
close the
wondering. I'm
gap
not saying to open your mouth. What's
that
up?
can, yeah, okay. So our mission has always been to close the gap between professionals where they are right now and where they need to be. So for individuals, that means helping professionals, irrespective of your background, to transition into cybersecurity and AI leadership through our CSMP programs. We have different ones there. And for businesses, we help them secure the enterprise systems, govern their AI responsibly, and prepare them for compliance or any industry standard that we choose to comply with. Remember what I said at the start. This is not a lecture. It's a conversation. It's a chat. It's an opportunity for us to learn from each other, share what we're seeing in the industry, and connect, build a community to navigate this changing world together. So without further ado, we can get started. Before we do that, okay, a question for everyone. If you're ready in cybersecurity, you can raise your hand. If you're trying to transition or you're transitioning right now, you can, let me see what other emoji we have here that we can use. So maybe you can do the @ sign or something if it's possible. Now, if you, okay, let's start with the cybersecurity professionals. You can see 2 hands up. I'm sure there are more than 2 people here. Okay, add me to it. Let me raise my hand too. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 hands. Okay. 5 hands. All right.
Okay, you can add me to it, Dr. Teslim.
Yes, absolutely. I like that. 6. Yes, 7. Fabian, of course. Oh, I thought Rob would be on the call. Okay. It's not here yet. 7. Okay. So if you're, okay, 8. Okay, and I see another cybersecurity professional joining, 9. And then another one, 10. Interesting. There's some experts joining the call right now. I can see them just popping in. Some experts that will help us do justice to this topic today. I can see them joining. I can see Tim Chapa Morigi. I can see Mukhtar Lasisi. So these are experts in this field that will help us. So thank you for joining. It's good to have you here. Now, we can put our hands down. Oh, I see Victor. I'm not sure which Victor it is. If it's the Victor, I think I don't want to put the last name just because this is recorded, but if it's you, just unmute and say, yes, it's me.
Well, I don't know the Victor you're talking about. I don't think I've ever joined the session.
And then it's not you. Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. So I'm Victor, senior cybersecurity consultant. I've been working on a whole lot of, AI innovations, automations, and all that, looking at AI related risks, like things like model bias, privacy violations, data poisoning, and all that. So I'm just here to, join in, listening, and then just learn from your expertise. Thank you.
Do more than listen. You will do justice to this topic for us today. But yeah, it's good to have you here. Thank you for joining. Right. Okay. So now we know we've seen the experts, we've heard from some of them. If you're transitioning, you're still in the process, you can raise your hand.
Mom, it's your hand. Actually, is that you guys' TV?
Can you mute? Is that, yeah, thank you. Okay, I see 2 hands up. Anyone else? Transitioning. So just 2. Interesting. So a whole lot of experts. Okay. If you haven't even started, or you're just curious. Maybe it's not even in your plan to get into cybersecurity. You're just curious. Now, let me see your hand. You're just here out of curiosity to just listen or add your 1 or 2 cents. 1 person, interesting, and then welcome. Okay. All right. Thank you all for being here. It's good to have you all. A lot of experts in the house. So it should be an interesting conversation today. One thing I'll just let you know as we move on is no matter where you are, whether you're just starting in cybersecurity, you're already in cybersecurity, you're just curious about AI and that's why you joined, AI is already touching your world. If you're not feeling it yet, I'll be surprised. It's already touching you. You're already feeling it. So there are a few things we'll touch on today. Different areas. We'll look at AI in everyday work. So we'll all discuss how we're seeing AI, what that means. As a part of it, we'll look at over-reliance on AI. Are we over-relying on AI? Should we rely on AI? How is it going to impact our world? We'll touch on that. And we'll jump into, from there, we'll jump into how AI is changing cybersecurity work. Victor already started talking about it, some of the work he's saying, and it'll be interesting to hear more about that. How it is changing our world, how certain roles are evolving, or would we even have a job tomorrow? Cybersecurity professionals, where AI is just taking over everything, you know? And I'm sure you've seen a lot of it. Oh, AI is not taking over cybersecurity. AI cannot take over cybersecurity jobs. Is it even true? We'll look at that together here. And then, are there new opportunities coming up? New roles and opportunities coming up in this space. We'll look at that as well. And what should we be doing? Whether we're in cybersecurity or we're not, what should we be doing now and as we look into the future? Because like I keep saying to people, AI has not even started yet. It's still very much in its infancy. It has not even, probably not even working yet. So should we be scared? Should we just go back to the farm like someone said last week? What should we be doing? So that's what we're here to talk about. So to get us started, how are we seeing AI in our everyday work? In Marshall Tech, for example, if you're working with Marshall Tech and you're speaking with people, I'll be surprised if you're still taking notes. And you have to explain to me what you're doing, why you're taking notes manually. We don't take notes manually in this company. I'm not saying it's a good thing, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but we don't take notes here. AI does it for us. How is that one job lost for maybe a note taker we're supposed to hire? I don't know. How are you seeing AI in your job today? Who wants to get us started?
May I?
We're here to chat. Please go ahead. Yes, we're here to chat. We're not here to just listen. We're here to chat.
Right. So for me, I know that we see AI, like I'll keep it very high level. We see AI in meetings where when you have your Teams meeting going on, you have a transcription of the meeting. That is AI, because what it does is it listens to the voices, and then over time it learns the way you speak, and then it's able to transcribe that into like it understands, like the way I say, the way I speak, and the way I enunciate and things like that. It learns that, and then it transcribes it, and then it knows to transcribe certain words that even human beings might not hear. They might ask you to repeat yourself, but AI never asks me to repeat myself. I just talk, and it transcribes the words that I say, and it gets me almost like exactly these days. I've noticed. As opposed to when I started, when it would kind of pause, I would see it pause a little bit when I talk. Now it doesn't even, sometimes it even starts writing the words before I say it. So that's I know I see AI in that way in my own job in meeting transcriptions. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's probably the most common or the most obvious usage right now. But there's a lot more. Who wants to help? There's a lot more that AI does that we're probably not even seeing yet.
Yeah, I can volunteer.
Yes, please go ahead.
So what I found just around 2 weeks ago about I learned about agentic AI. So I feel it's a threat, and the way it's like automatic, it can work as like under minimum human supervision. So that means our job is not there, and as yeah, yeah, and at the same time, I found one interesting part is it just introduced around 2 months ago, so it will take around 2 to 3 years for the whole learning part. So maybe we are safe for a year, and after 1 year, we don't know, because that time AI may capture our jobs, or maybe something new is coming. Another part of cybersecurity is, there are many unserved market in the world. So, for example, I am from Bangladesh, and over there, the reason I was, interested in the subject is like 99% of the companies, they don't use any cybersecurity because they don't even think about it. And only banking industry are only one like who needs huge protection, and they are being protected by many, not many, like only certain companies, the software they bought from. Otherwise, other companies don't care. So I see like huge potential of selling ourselves. Maybe other consultants or who are already in the market, who are listening to me now, they may think about it and they may do the market research. Only the problem is, while you are thinking about to sell something, if you cannot make any artificial need to your customer, then they will not buy your product. So it's not what best products you have. It's matter of like how the customers is like aligning with the product or services you are offering. So it's always I found it's always good to have something. If I see one market is shut down for me, then maybe there is another market, maybe in Africa, maybe in South America, maybe in Europe. So not Europe is already Europe or American market is already saturated. So there are like still markets in underdeveloping or developing world.
For sure. Are you currently in Bangladesh or
No, I'm in Ottawa.
you're in Ottawa right now? Okay, okay. And yes, you're right. Maybe they don't know cybersecurity. Maybe I would be the reason they they know cybersecurity. Who knows? Right. Interesting. Thank you for sharing your
Thank you.
point of view on that. Um, Anyone else? Like, is there someone in HR right now? What are you seeing in your space? Or maybe you are even applying to jobs and something is happening. You feel like AI is not making them see you. Anyone? Quite a number of people on the call. What's going on? Mike,
I
are you there? Yeah, go ahead, King. Yes.
Yeah, I can share how I use AI actively in my work. So I largely use it to interpret control statements to understand the boundaries of what you're asking for, to understand what is to be implemented or what that control is really saying. So typically I just drop the control statement on it in maybe Copilot and just ask that, can you kind of interpret what this is? And it goes into detail what is expected and what is the intent of that control. And that's the way I actively use AI currently.
Interesting. I don't know if anyone, thank you for sharing that. I don't know if anyone else wants to say something, but that
All right.
was like, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, find something else.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
go ahead, sure.
AI is a very wonderful tool for everyone to use. Like I have one particular AI that I use to generate a podcast, to generate a video, kind of a lot of stuff. And that particular AI, I think it's a product, it's a Google product, Notebook LM. And I think everyone should also take note of that. You can be able to share about 50 documents, maybe YouTube link, PDF, copy and paste your text, all manners of things, 50 documents at once to help you to generate, to analyze, to do all sort of things. So I think AI is a wonderful tool for each and everyone else to see. And for most of us that we have a lot of maybe many pages for us to be able to read over and over, you can just generate the podcast by listening to it every now and then. And you can pause, you can forward, you can do all sort of things while you're in the kitchen, you're driving, just to make to make your work to be more effective and to be more visible. I think that's just a little bit I can be able to say about AI.
Interesting, interesting. Different ways, different ways AI and different ways AI is touching our world, not just our job, but even our everyday lives. Do we have a stockbroker here? So someone that deals in that does stockbroking. Is AI doing anything in that world?
I can tell you from my experience, I'm not a stockbroker, but I am a trader. Yeah, nobody trades like manually anymore. It's a good skill to have, like absolutely, but no one actually trades. Like you don't look at charts and like, your highs and lows and mark your charts up and stuff. Nobody does that anymore because there's no point. AI will do that in a blink of an eye and tell you what your stop loss and your TP is and all that. So like you don't need to do that at all. Like there's no point. You're gonna waste time and the next person is gonna, you know, get like prepare for the trade a lot faster than you and get in the trade a lot sooner than you, and you're losing money and time. So and if you know anything about trading, time is money. So yeah.
Interesting. Thank you. And again, to add to beyond talk, even our everyday life, utilities and all of that. I know that because I did some work for some energy company in the past, and I know that they use AI. A lot of them use AI now. So even if it's not touching your wall directly, it is touching it indirectly. AI can, again, I'm not saying that would happen, don't quote me anywhere. AI can choose to shut down your electricity or your gas. I'm not saying it will happen, don't get me wrong. So, but again, AI is touching everything. Now, my question to everybody now is even if you're just doing Google search now, you realize that even your email, Gmail does that now. You receive an email and it summarizes it for you before you even start reading. And the CTAs and all of that shows it to you at the top before you even start reading it. So the need to read an email is becoming reduced by the day. The need to actually search through a search engine like Google is getting reduced by the day because it summarizes everything for you at the top. So AI is touching everything. Now, my big question to everybody at this point is, we're all relying on AI so much because it makes our life so easy. Is there a problem with that? Should we be scared? Or should we just say, oh yeah, it's just another tool for efficiency and we should just use it the best way possible? Is there a risk to over-reliance on AI? Question to everybody. I see
Uh,
ILS.
I think I think it's in two ways actually. One thing is we can look at it from a risk perspective, in the sense that it may affect our way of thinking. Things that you should ordinarily sit down to process on your own. I guess it kind of makes us lazy in a way, and you don't even want to process anything anymore. You would rather leave that job to AI to do for you. At the same time, you can say, why should I stress myself when I have a tool that can do it? At the end of the day, nobody wants to stress. You just want life easy for you. So if someone out there built a tool that could make my life easy, why should I stress? So it's in two ways. So it could make you lazy. At the same time, it boils down to efficiency and effectiveness. Think about it. You're at work, you see someone who wants to do things manually, you have the tool that can make your life easier. Who's the boss going to favor at the end of the day? Someone who can deliver within, twinkle of, I mean, within seconds, and someone who would take forever because you want to prove to them you can process things, you can think. So it makes a huge difference. It depends on how you see it. But I say if you want to show them that, you are still the thinker, then it could be a problem for you. So at the end of the day, it boils down to when they say AI would replace us, AI would replace you, I think AI wouldn't necessarily replace us, right? It's someone using AI that might replace you because you don't want to use it, right? So AI wouldn't just win you. If you know how to use AI, then you would win. So that is how I see it, kind of. So you can say, yeah, there's risk, but there's nothing in life without risk. But it just depends on how you want to take it. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's an interesting take. And again, I can't argue with that because I think it happened in our company. Someone, again, don't hate me for this. Someone got fired because they wouldn't find efficient ways of doing things. Those in the company, they know what I'm talking about. That person would create marketing materials manually and would take them 2 days to get it done. Something that would just supposed to take you less than 10 minutes with AI, of course, right? The person would create images in 1 week, edit videos in 2 days and 3 days. Businesses are moving faster than that. Why should a business wait 1 week, 2 weeks to get marketing materials out of the door when you can get it out of the door in 1 hour, 1 or 2 hours or less than that? Right? That's how AI is changing our work. But then I agree with that. I agree with that. And yes, we are all beneficiaries of AI. Has AI gone, can AI go rogue or has AI gone rogue on us? Or can it do that? Is there potential for that? Could we be, for example, autonomous cars, some of us you've driven or I don't know, you've driven or been on because you can't even drive it now if it's autonomous cars. What if it gets into a complicated situation where it has to make a choice? Now we're relying on it because it's driving us and there's no override. You can't override it because you're not even in the driver's seat. Are we looking at that side of things? Or as I said before, I was a part of a project where we implemented was it predictive maintenance for an energy company. This is a North American company, global one. If something goes wrong, and I'm not saying something will go wrong ever, if something goes wrong, we will all be impacted, I'm telling you. So around liquid pipeline, they've automated their maintenance prediction end to end, including ordering of materials that are less in stock, including assigning jobs to the technicians, like pretty much end to end of it. Again, there's still people behind it, but end to end of it has been automated through AI. If that goes wrong, if that level of reliance, is it good enough? Is it good? I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just asking a question. Let's have an open conversation about what I would say.
Mo ní kí n má tètè wá láàárọ̀ yìí, bí ẹ ṣe máa sùn.
Okay.
Ẹ káàárọ̀ jàre.
Does anyone have something to say about that? Yeah, we heard from Ayo Lasisi who says, yeah, it's just a beautiful thing, right? You will be replaced by a person using that knows how to use AI. Yeah, I can't argue with that logic. Or is there a different side to this? Or maybe you're just supporting what has been said.
Just to add to that, agreed. I've seen a lot. I used to work as a BA, and typically we write requirements and all of that, and AI is a big part of what we do. So I think I'm just going to corroborate what the last speaker said, that, well, you can sit down and write your requirements for 1 week, or you can use AI and get it done in 3 hours. And I think it just makes you more efficient, right? And everyone is happy, so why would I not use it? So for me, AI would not replace a BA, but AI will replace somebody that is not utilizing it, I guess. So I'm just corroborating that, and I see it very true in my world, or in the world I used to live, where BAs are constantly and consistently saying now that, well, you have to adopt AI, of course, ethically, as long as you abide by the whatever policy that your organization has put in place, and you're not sharing things and all of that, because that is another part of it. There is the issue of data leakage.
Are we
So
saying, yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so there is the concern, for instance, in organization of data leakage and how to address that and all of that. So, but my point is, as long as you are still within the confines of whatever your organization allows, I feel like AI is the way to go.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay. So are we saying, thank you for that. And you did talk about BAs, we're saying Scrum Masters, a lot of them losing their jobs. And I'm not saying they're losing their jobs to AI. Now, is there that risk of people, no matter how much AI you know, and I wouldn't even say people now, I would say whole department or unit of business getting overhauled and getting taken over by AI? Is there that risk? Should we be scared or something like that would happen? Or if it's,
Yeah,
if it's already happened?
I can chime in on that. Yeah, I think for everything there's always one risk or the other, right? And I guess whether we like it or not, like the previous speaker just said, AI is the way to go, right? But at the same time, when we say it is the way to go, if you actually want to remain relevant, I think the onus is on individual to want to kind of upskill themselves, right? Or for us to upskill ourselves just to remain relevant. Otherwise, if you think, well, I know technology, I don't know AI, I cannot be bothered, then something that would bother you would come. Because at that time, when you become irrelevant, companies would no longer want to talk to you. And those guys, who want to be relevant would be taken over. So the risk is there because you can actually lose your source of livelihood, right? But it's just on you to want to kind of mitigate that risk if you can, in your own little way. It does not mean you have to know everything about AI, but you have to know whatever is relevant to your own source of livelihood, right? And of course, as time goes by, if there is need for you to further upskill yourself, you have to do that. Unfortunately, technology is fast evolving, and I don't think anyone can control that. We cannot stop it. So the world we live today, we kind of have to be up to speed. We have to just remain cautious and conscious of our environment. So the risk is there, but at the same time, it is on you to learn to know how to mitigate that risk.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's interesting. And now, okay, Victor, please go ahead before we move. Before you're just taking us to what we're supposed to discuss next. So yeah, Victor, please.
Yeah, thank you. So just like I said earlier on, looking at AI related risk and all that, but the last speaker that said, it could, transcend into people losing jobs and all that. So I'm just going to quickly give like an illustration of how, people could lose jobs and also how to look at those risks related to AI usage and all that. So thinking cybersecurity, think about something like the, vendor security reviews, thinking about, answering questionnaires from prospective clients and all that. So I've seen from my experience using AI automation to answer vendor security reviews, right? To answer questionnaires and all that. So that definitely, because I know a lot of people that were employed as third-party risk assessors, help with the TPRM process and all that. But AI is able to quickly conduct vendor security reviews on those vendors, help answer questionnaires based on what has been built as knowledge base. But we need to be careful. And I would also tell you from my experience, I've seen those AI automation models whereby based on the knowledge base, it gives too much of information, right? It basically answers those questionnaires, giving so many information from different vulnerabilities from the pen test, even remediation that is still in process and all that. So you can understand that from a perspective, it could actually transcend to people in the TPRM space losing their jobs because AI could actually do it faster. But it can also still lead to risk whereby say sharing sensitive information and all that. And just to quickly digress, if you look at a lot of AI generated attacks like deep fakes, voice cloning and all that, we see this coming more often and more believable because someone talked about, I think Mukhtar, Dr. Mukhtar, I think he also talked about using AI note takers. We have so many of them, Fathom, Fireflies. Those are avenues whereby this threat actors could actually build those libraries for deepfakes, voice cloning, because you have a lot of your voice on the, and I think someone also talked about AI can recognize my voice. I think a lady spoke about that, like can help recognize my voice, already understands what I say, helps get all those transcripts and all that. So you understand the basis of deepfakes and voice cloning right now because based on the fact that you've been feeding the AI with, so much of, your voice, so much of your face, sometimes you're on camera, and then it's easier to, come up with all those deep fakes, all those voice cloning, and then it's more believable to the people that, are getting it, right? So there's a lot of, and I always talk about this, when there's AI, I don't want to talk too much. I just want to quickly talk on, things like, using SOA, security operations and all that.
Let's see there real quick, because that's where we're going.
Okay, so I was just going to say, at that point in time, I always tell people for every AI automation, there should be a possibility of an human override because we've started seeing that from business continuity, angle whereby, the rules have been set in those AI tools and all that, and then it locks everybody out. Like, and then, it's at a very important period. And that's also one of the very, high level risk that we've been seeing in the AI space whereby those AI, tools, their functionality has been built, those rules have been set, and at some point in time, anything outside of the rule, it doesn't accept it because it's an LLM, right? It's built on whatever you put in there, so it's like I'll say a zombie, right? So it's been put in there. If you don't have a possibility of overriding it, it could mess everything up, and then it could cause business continuity issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In fact, like I think you're taking us right into the risks of using AI. Now we talked about over reliance, and it seems like everybody feels it's the right thing to do. Yeah, and we agree it's the right thing to do. But at their risk, should we be concerned that AI is doing so much in our world? You've talked about models a lot. You've talked about deepfakes a lot already. Phishing, traditionally we're used to if there are spelling errors, if there's too much urgency, if there's this is that. With AI, there will be no spelling error. It would just look right. They can spoof your email without even breaking a sweat. and it will seem like it's even coming from inside your organization. It will seem like an internal email. We are seeing that a lot now with AI. So there are things happening, there are things going on. But what other risks can we be exposed to? We can talk about hallucination. I don't know if someone wants to talk about that. There's new ones that as cybersecurity professionals we didn't have before. We have to acknowledge the fact that AI is still a technology. Yes, maybe technology like nothing we've seen before. It is still another technology. So what risks are we seeing? What AI risk or what technology risk, because it's still technology, are we seeing with AI that weren't there before? Do we want to talk about that real quick? Yeah, Olumide, please go ahead. Olumide, you're muted.
Okay, thanks. So, for me, it's there are more sophisticated attacks, which you've mentioned, due to the fact that people now sell solutions or things like ransomware as a service, phishing as a service, that third parties can just any new entry, any new hacker or any new attacker can just pick up and leverage and use to run phishing mail campaigns, spoofing. So it's becoming more dangerous. There are more landmines. Things look more. The regular templates don't work anymore. Like, oh, just like give the example now. Is the urgency is there spelling error? You see mails that look perfect. The links almost look perfect. There are embedded links within it, and it requires more cybersecurity awareness for the end users. It requires more details, more analytic work involved with the cybersecurity team. But then I feel it's a double-edged sword because it also helps. My company moved to SecOps, and it's been fantastic when we do analysis because of the natural language. It makes combing through the A stack very easy. And the same way, it's just having that right governance structure in place, letting people know that yes, it's there to support you, it's there to assist you, but it doesn't define the standards. And I've heard how I find it funny when people would just copy something off and then put it into a service environment or put it into an operations environment. There's need for that governance thing. And I feel that's the risk there is it's just a double-edged sword. That's what I would say from my own experience. There's the benefit and there's the disadvantage in that we've said it all. You are introducing a lot of information that is still learning, so there's need to tread it carefully. A lot of organizations that are going on board, in terms of closing jobs, I feel it's not taking away jobs. I feel it's taking away repetitive tasks, and which comes with the fact that is your job just a repetitive task? Does it require any form of human intervention? If your job is just where we see chatbots taking over contact center work, reducing the level of interaction of the contact center, I'm aware of teams that have cut off their level one because the chatbots just do the whole thing. Oh, you need this. Have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done this? Can you do this? Can you follow these steps? If you've not done that, if you're told it, you've done all that, ask for your screenshot and everything, just takes you to level 2 support, which my organization is also actually working towards, leveraging Copilot. So they're just landmines we've not seen before, just happening every day now. That's what I'm just saying.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I like that you said you mentioned got rid of level one. So that within the SOC. It's interesting. And I don't know if as we're having this conversation, this is probably more for the experts so the newbies can learn. So in the situation where AI starts to hallucinate, make up things that are not there, that's a risk. That's a risk that we probably didn't think about a few years ago. Is this something we should be concerned about, or it's just it won't happen with the AI we have right now?
It's something, yeah, we should be concerned about it, but at the same time, I think it has to do with the setup and the configuration. Even when you go down to the very popular one that we all know, the generative AI, sometimes when you input something and you need it to maybe make sense out of it or do whatever you want with it, you'd realize that there's a lot of assumption or assumptions that come with that, but you are still able to turn that down to say, you know what, focus on the content that I'm asking for, right? So what do I mean by it depends on how that is set up is that, if you have your algorithm to say, there's a limit to how much information or to what you can assume, that kind of thing, that could actually be some sort of control that you want to put in place while setting up your AI. So, as someone rightly mentioned, AI, don't forget that the AI is still technology, whether we like it or not, right? It's whatever you feed into it that it gives you. Even though it's able to, learn from different data all over the world, pull data from everywhere, and kind of make sense or streamline that into to suit your own requirements, right? It still boils down to the fact that it is garbage in, garbage out. We should not forget that. So yeah, that risk is there. At that point, there could be some form of hallucination, but you are still in control, of the engine at the end of the day. So as long as there's someone behind the scenes, right, you should be able to take control over that. So yeah.
At least you should be. I like what you said that, but I would not say you are in control. I say you should be in control of the machine at the end of the day because there's the blind trust, and that's kind of what I was taking that. So yeah, please go ahead. Thank you. Celia, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. I'm here already. Yeah, I just wanted to contribute to what everyone has been saying. Like what Olumide said, AI is a double edged sword. I think most of us use AI in our lives for different tasks. For myself, sometimes I even use it while cooking, right? I have an ingredient that I'm not used to, and it's just my phone away. It's just ask, what can I make with this, right? The other day, we're supposed to go for a speaking engagement. They asked for a flyer. I wasn't in the house. I just provided Masha Tech logo, give it my content. The flyer was ready, right? Things like that. It makes our life, efficient. You mentioned HR the other time. I wasn't able to talk. Um, we're hiring for a position in my organization. We had a lot of resumes, but after doing my initial assessment with some resumes, even with those ones, there was still a lot. And I was able to, upload these resumes, and it made a comparison for me. And I was able to weed off some candidate from that. If that is good, because like I said, AI it's not perfect. There's probability there was bias on that. I wouldn't know, right? But should we use it? Yeah. If it's just like any other technology, but this age and time, even before AI, if you still have someone that doesn't know how to use a computer, you're still used to the old ways of writing, you don't know how to use a computer, of course your job is going to be replaced, right? But at the same time, depending on the industry, I feel AI usage, efficiency, and also um be reliant on it depends on the industry. There's some industry where we deal with very sensitive data, very things that has to do with human beings. With those people, with those industry, I think um AI taking over or automating things that they do, we need to tread carefully. Where others where we can be in control, or AI can make those jobs more efficient. Yes, the adoption might be easier to compared to those ones that are very sensitive, there's the sensitive data that's involved. And just like any other technology, the risk will always be there. You've talked about hallucination, it can give you wrong information. Even during research, which I experienced, during research, it gives you some wrong data. And if you're just doing garbage in, garbage out without you going through what is actually giving you, it can affect a lot of things, because those information get published again, and the wrong information continue to circle. So as much as we use it, it make our work efficient, we still need to be in control. We still need to check, do our risk assessments, our continual monitoring of what the automation we've done and other things that we've put in it.
Interesting. Thank you. Okay, let me there, please go ahead. Yes, you're muted.
I'm using my handle, so it's moving around. So I would say there's something everybody has said, and just trying to reiterate it indirectly, is to in order to avoid what I've noticed from the hallucinations is it comes when you jumble in a complex or a lot of information. And so it's like it doesn't know how to process most of these things. And the ethical adoption we've done in our place, which in deploying it, is to streamline the exposure, to streamline what the AI does, leveraging co-pilots. We use it for things like natural language search. And so there's need to do that streamlining. And then there's need to not have an over-reliance, which is where the human intervention is to come in. Okay, I needed to audit this document. I needed to review this activity. We should have it at the back of our mind that it's just like, okay, now I recently had a journey across the UK where I went on like a 500 miles trip, and I leveraged the AI that was in the vehicle, which is things like cruise control, lane assist. Each time my hand was over off the steering, the vehicle would tell me, "Get your hands back on the steering," because I'm not meant to be driving you. You are meant to be in control of the vehicle. So in the same way, that's the same way it's going the AI thing is. It's not like, okay, I think that the problem comes when people feel it's an autonomous system, that it can run on its own self. And that's where the wrong assumption comes in. I myself have done going through that generative, that there's need to just have that streamlining the purpose for the activity you wanted to do or the task. And also not that zero trust, not saying, oh, it can run, everything is right. I don't need to recheck it. But then that comes in from the governance structure the organization has put in place in adopting and running the AI usage. Where it is open for all, there's that risk of wrong information, that risk of things getting broken, that risk of things getting complicated, and that also risk of data leakage. So that's just my saying.
Thank you. So yeah, you've all kind of pointed to similar things, governance, oversight, and all of that. What if you have the governance, you have the controls in place, but then you have a smart person or who chooses to be smart and tricks through their prompts, tricks your, or maybe a bad actor or whoever, trick through their prompt. And I saw that yesterday, interestingly enough, where ethical hackers, in this case, not the actual hackers, would trick ChatGPT into actually giving them code to crack passwords and all of that. Because I think like 2023 or so, ChatGPT and other Gen AI, they've put controls in place to not create short codes. For ethical hackers, I saw it yesterday, that he would trick ChatGPT into actually giving them codes by playing kind of role playing with ChatGPT. Now, you can trick AI into that. And bad guys can actually go, of course, if it's done by bad guys, we call it prompt injection and all of that. Yeah, there are guardrails in place, there are controls in place, but then you're able to trick AI into doing certain things. And you can think of that in the case of Gen AI. You can also think of it if something like that happens, say, in healthcare, in an instrument or in a machine controlled by AI, but it depend on. Does that put us in a difficult situation?
Well, I think that it still boils down to some sort of cybersecurity stuff that a lot of people already talked about here, right? Uh, Regardless of whether you're using AI or not, the bad actors are always there, right? They would always do their things their way, even without the use of AI or whatnot. So I think that one, we do not have control over that, especially if you have, let's say you have a disgruntled employee who is willing to manipulate things and get their way out of things. So, and as we all know, within the cybersecurity space, the greatest threats you would have is human or an employee, right? How would you know what they are thinking about?
But then, are you still talking? I can't hear you. Did you stop talking or your microphone went off? I still see the mic moving, but we can't hear you. Is it just me? Can anyone hear me? Hello?
DML's account, DML kind of, exactly. So DML's account kind of went on and off. So it's
I
back now.
think he's back.
Okay, I'm back. Oh, I was wondering what happened. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
we can
can.
hear you now. I
Okay,
thought it was
okay.
me.
I was like, okay, what's going on? I think my VPN shut down for some reason.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay.
Just shut
But I
down.
hope you heard me right.
I believe everybody else did. I heard you to a point, but I stopped hearing you.
Okay. Yeah, I was just mentioning that there's some technology risk or cybersecurity risk that we face every day, right? Regardless or irrespective of whether we are referring, I mean, we're talking about AI or just standard technology risk, it will always be there, right? So that's something we should always factor in, which is why we should always have that human intervention one way or the other, or you should always have someone behind the scenes. Like they already said, we should not assume it is autonomous and everything should just be done without any form of intervention. Let me give a very quick example here. I'm working on a project right now. And I think I would liken this to what Suleya mentioned earlier. They are working on very sensitive data like medical records and also even this one is far beyond medical record you would see, from a GP or a general practitioner. Is very, very intrusive, right? But what they have done is knowing that AI helps them with some of the decision making, but they ensure that it is not automatic decision making by the AI. Once those data extraction and stuff is done, right, they still go in there to review that data that has been generated by AI to ensure that that data is accurate, right? Before it is validated. So that human intervention is very important. Otherwise, if you assume AI knows it all, then you are setting yourself up for failure, right? So it is very important to always have someone behind the scenes to ensure the controls are actually accurate and working as expected.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank you. Yeah, which also caters for the case where there's data poisoning, where the training data has been poisoned. Now, I think the case with Workday, I made an article on it earlier in the week. You would associate that to the fact that they have the model in place, they have AI working, but there seems to be no human intervention when it comes to when AI makes decisions around hiring. So what at least we don't know where that case would go, but what we're seeing or what we're hearing is that the Workday AI agent, I can't remember what it's called. Actually, again, I don't know how true that is right now until it's proven. Discriminates by age, so if you're above 40, you don't get picked. If you have a certain level of qualification, you don't get picked. If you're a veteran or something, or you have a disability, you don't get picked, and it just automatically drops you. Now, was that intentional? Was it as a result of data poisoning during like training, or it was just trained on the wrong data? We don't know. Like we don't know how true that is, but again, it goes back to what we're all saying. There must be human oversight. Now, we in cybersecurity, or hopefully those outside of it as well, we've heard of shadow IT. That is a realistic risk that we have to in especially in a lot of organizations. Should we be concerned about shadow AI?
Yes, we should be concerned. And in my place, and for other people I've had to recommend too, we've had to, even down to things like leveraging Purview, we've had to streamline access to AI sites. We've had to even streamline things like even data sharing to AI platforms. So we should be concerned because I've seen a scenario where someone went to, just like we said, asked an AI how to do password reset thing.
Do you mind, because I know I didn't do that, I should have. Do you mind letting us know what shadow AI is?
Oh, okay. So shadow
Yeah,
AI
for the
is
sake of this, I do
a
not.
parallel AI management system where people can run their own thing. They're out of their organizations. For example, it could be you've restricted how to use AI within your organization, and then someone else have their own parallel PC where they can access the AI resource. They access it, they copy the code or the snippet or whatever, email it to their own official mailbox, and then they run it. In the context of shadow IT is that somebody else is trying to fiddle the same IT services you're doing on the official devices. So In this context, the person got the code on how to do a password reset and then brought it into the organization's environment. Luckily for us, the EDR had been programmed to pick things like that up. And as soon as it got deposited into me, it was like, why is this person running this kind of script? Why should you have? And because we've had to do other controls in place, things like user access controls, what's called elevated privileges and all that, the person was nipped at the bud, but it could have gone under the radar as just an incident. But because of leveraging the SecOps, which I said it's a double-edged sword, leveraging SecOps, it was able to bring out that this is not just a regular Python script. Like, what's going on here? Investigation then showed that. What are you trying to do? Your password is lost. You shouldn't try to do it yourself. You should reach out to the responsible team, not by going over the internet to look out for how to do that yourself. And so it's like I said, it's a lot of landmines are now out there, but then it also, there's need for that. For me, what has happened is we've recommended awareness training sessions in order to tell people what not to do, what to do, and also to let them know their responsibility level based on acceptable use policy of AI.
Absolutely. Thank you. So that's interesting because like awareness is key, but then putting controls in place to knowing that humans will be humans, putting controls in place to watch out for such is very important. And using your DLP tools. I know it's already past 11. There's one more thing I would like us to touch on. We've talked about shadow IT. Is how much, I think Victor touched on it earlier. If we don't know the models that our AI tools run on, do we know how much of our data is exposed? Yes, there's so many things that go on AI right now. I already mentioned that they use in healthcare, they use AI, and I think I mentioned it as well, Celia mentioned as well. They use AI to make decisions, even though there's human oversight internally in terms of what we have control over. Do we know how much? And I think it was Adetutu that shared something with me last night. I said, yeah, this is interesting. Do we know how much of our data that goes into AI actually do we know where it's kept? Do we know how much of it goes out there? How much of it we don't have control over once it gets into AI? Is that something we should also be concerned about as a cybersecurity professional, as an organization?
I mean, largely looking at what you said, I mean, okay, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. I saw something one time when DeepSeek came out, where people could host their own LLMs on internal organizations or on production platforms. So instead of using popular, let's say, AI tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity, which are already well established, I mean, I've begun to see a couple of incidences where companies are developing their own LLMs internally, and they're kind of inserting that into their own tools. So that way, since it's being built up from scratch and security principles have been applied from the very basics of this, that could potentially help mitigate things like data leakage because these tools are built with security from the very get-go. I mean, it's called the shifting left. When you shift left, when you're very aware of security from the very get-go of developing your LLM and integrating that into your day-to-day operations in your organization. So that helps mitigate data loss. And I mean, that's what I'm about here.
I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that. Now, that is in the case of when the company knows that they're intentionally implementing or deploying AI, right? And something, part of the exercise we did in class last week, I don't know if you want to speak to that, realizing how much you can't do with Copilot because it's an application as far as they're concerned. You can't work on it privately, it's publicly available and all of that. Now, in the case, which is happening a lot, where companies don't even know they have AI in their enterprise tool because they've implemented a CRM, they've implemented ERP, they've had these things, but then this company, SAP and the likes, they've added AI into the regular systems. Companies have done simple update, a simple upgrade. Now AI is in the tool that they've always used. Is there a way for them to, one, be aware of it, govern it, put certain things in place? what are the options for companies or for security experts or security people in this situation?
I think one of the things you can do as an organization, going into the oversight is, and I'm sure Adetutu can testify to this, is when you do a vendor risk assessment, for example, you want to ensure that your vendor is actually very transparent as to whether or not they have any AI component in the tool that you are deploying from them, right? If that is the case, then
Just
you
a
have
quick
to go
one,
through.
quick one. You already using this tool. Like it's not a new implementation. It's already there. What they've done
Okay.
is they have, and it's happening a lot, they have introduced AI to improve efficiency. ERP is supposed to make your life easier, finance, procurement, all of that. They've now introduced AI as a feature. You know how it works. You introduce a new feature,
So
everybody
yeah,
gets
so
excited
it's
when it
more, so
plays.
I would say, so that could be a form of enhancement coming from the vendor, right? Sort of. So again, don't forget that there's still going to be some patch updates that would come from the vendor one way or the other before
Correct.
these
Yes.
things can actually take effect. Or even if it's a
Absolutely.
SaaS solution, right? Now they have told you there's a new feature or there's a new component to what you already use and this stuff like that, right? The onus is still on you as an organization, especially when you have a proper AI governance in place, right? To ensure that the vendor is actually very transparent as to what component or whether AI has been part of this newly introduced feature, right? And with that, you want to go through the necessary ethics and the governance procedure. Otherwise, you would be exposed. I was in a meeting on Thursday. In fact, specifically, we were talking to SAP Success Factor, and they told us about the new features they have recently added with a lot of AI, and I drilled them a lot with a lot of AI governance questions, right? Unfortunately, they couldn't answer my question. They said you would have to channel that to the proper security team to be able to answer those questions and stuff like that. So these are the things you would want to ensure you have in place as an organization. And don't forget that when your vendor or your partner reaches out to you to say they have introduced a new feature, you don't just adopt it. You have to be sure it is actually required by your organization, and you want to ensure that you do your necessary risk assessment before adopting such a feature, right? As part of the tool that you use within your organization. So yeah, a lot of risk assessment is still required in that regards.
I like what you're saying. I'll just say this real quick, then I'll let Victor speak. I like what you're saying. In an ideal world, yes, absolutely, it works. We know how organizations work, and we know how fast they want to move. You know how fast they want to adopt the next shiny thing. I'll let Victor speak to that. Please go ahead.
Yes. So I just wanted to add that I'm seeing right now a lot of contract reviews, being able to, because I think he mentioned that, transparency from the organization, if there's going to be like an add-on, to the already introduced tool so that we know that AI is being, introduced and all that. So right now in the ecosystem, I'm seeing a lot of contract reviews whereby, organizations are reaching out to their vendors to say, hey, if there's going to be anything along the line of, adding AI to, especially for organizations that deal with real sensitive data, right? They want to really understand what's happening. So those contract reviews would actually be stated, legal terms. If you are going to be introducing AI, you need to let us know and all that, so that we can carry out like a TRA, that's threat risk assessment, so that you understand, what is going to be the interaction with AI, what is it going to be interacting with us in terms of our data, where is it going to be stored, how is it going to be processed and all that and all that. So I would say right now a lot of organizations are going through that contract review process, especially for their critical vendors, right? Reaching out to them, letting them understand that if for whatever reason at any point in time, if we're going to be introducing AI, we need to know so that we can carry out like a TRA to understand what the process would be, and then be able to better mitigate those risks if they are going to be risk associated. So I just wanted to chip that in.
Thank you, and thank you both for sharing that. But now, both of you and the other experts are and sparing experts in the house. Have you seen situations where, again, less mature environments, where yes, they know AI is there, and like you rightly said, you ask these questions, the vendor didn't have the answers. They will get back to you. But then business comes back to push. Say, we shouldn't bother, let's just implement. Because in those situations, how have you handled such situations? Yeah, they don't have the answers, but it's AI, it's SAP after all. Why can't you just trust them and just implement? And this is real life. I know
Well,
there's a,
again,
there's a friend going through that now.
if you want
And
to,
the interesting thing, this is the security team pushing to implement the next shiny toy without proper assessment. What would you do in such if you find yourself in a situation like that?
so if you want to do a blind trust because of the reputation of the organization, then you're on your own. You have just introduced a risk to your organization. If you are the security team and you're saying because it's SAP, because it's Microsoft, then something is wrong with you, right? I understand, there is a high chance they would have done their due diligence, no doubt about that. But you also have to cover your own act as well, right? In cases of audit. Now, should things go sideways, what would you say, right? Have you just shot yourself in the foot? So you have to be careful as an organization. So regardless of the reputation of the vendor you are dealing with, you still have to do your own diligence. I mean, due diligence. You have to ensure you have all necessary assessments in place, right? So whenever you deal with a vendor, they have to be transparent. And like I think Victor mentioned about some contract review and stuff like that. So all those things should be. But if a security team is saying because of the reputation, we should just go ahead and implement, then you have just set yourself up for failure.
Individual for your career, what should you do? Victor, please go ahead. For your own career sake, what should you do?
Yes, thank you very much. We all understand the risk. No, sorry, not we all. Like most of us understand the, concept of, risk treatment. We have that risk acceptance. So there's always some point in time where the organization will say, well, we understand this risk, we know, blah, 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 but we're still going to accept it, right? But there should be a justification for acceptance of a risk, which should be documented by you that carried out the, security, so that you're basically saying, I've done my due diligence, I told you about the risk, but the organization went ahead to say, hey, we won't accept the risk. So that, at some point in time, if there's like a cyber incident, from that supply chain, you already have documented your, review. You already put in the justification that was given by the management to accept the risk. And then, well, I would say that's the best you can do at that point in time, because sometimes you see, management, I've seen that a lot, in the consulting world, whereby they'll tell you we need to always balance, and I'm also for that too. Like we need to always balance security with, business operation. We need to make sure that, because, people would say if there's no business, there won't be security, right? So there won't be, if there's no business, there won't be security. So if we don't have, what we need to, set up the business to, prosper and all that, then we wouldn't really even be talking about security in the first place. So what I've seen majorly with the suit guys, top management, is they think about, what's the, ROI, how is it going to help the business and all that. And then if for whatever reason, any of those, security advice or any of those, implementation from security perspective is going to affect, income generation and all that, they get to suppress it. But you as a security professional, you already, and that's one of your duties, right? You provide those advisory services to say, hey, I stated this, I noted this, but if you guys want to go ahead and accept the risk, you just justify it, let it be documented, so that you have documentations to prove that you did your due diligence, you advise the organization, but it's left for the top management to either accept or suppress stance they are accepting the risk. So that's what I've seen in this space from my experience.
Thank you. As security professionals, we are supposed to be business enablers. But again, part of enabling business is to identify risks that can put business into trouble. You rightly said, if business chooses to accept that risk, it's on them. Make sure you get that documented. It should be good for your own career sake. Right. Thank you for that. So that will move us to the next one, because we only have about 15 minutes, and we should be talking. We want to talk about, now we've talked about the risk, we've talked about the fact that it is there. We can't help it. And I'm glad majority of us, at least those that spoke, confirmed that there are risks, but we still have to move ahead with it. It's just like any other technology. You can say no to it, even if you go to the farm to say, you know what, I can't do anything with this technology. I'm going to the farm. You will still find AI in the farm. Now, are there new opportunities opening up as a result of AI? What are we seeing in the market? What should we start doing as professionals? And what are the options for those that are not already in cybersecurity? Not everybody will be cybersecurity professionals, but what should we be doing? What opportunities are we seeing? So I'm kind of merging two things because of time. What opportunities are we seeing that are opening up as a result of AI, especially in the cybersecurity space? And what should we be doing to get ourselves prepared right now and for the future? Anyone? So your company has implemented or they're trying to implement, or you're suddenly seeing AI in your everyday job. What should you do as a professional who loves their job, or at least loves their career because their life depends on the career? What should you be doing for yourself to remain relevant? You've touched on some of these things as we're speaking. Anyone? Okay, should I call someone now and just give us an advice? What would you advise the person that's just starting out or that is not even thinking of cybersecurity right now, but then AI is touching their world? What should they be doing? What advice would you give to that person?
Sorry, I had food in my mouth at some point, but I was just going to quickly finish chewing and then talk. So there are a lot of other opportunities. I would say, for instance, people looking in the GRC space, you start thinking about GRC engineering. It deals with a lot of, automation, creating scripts that you could use, generate reports and all that. AI can actually help you with a lot of those. So we need to start thinking about, just like someone said, AI is going to replace not people, but people that can actually use AI. Sorry if I hope I got that clearly. So, like the way I was going to say, like, it's not that AI will replace you, but if you can't use AI well, then you're going to be replaced. So you need to start thinking about, how AI is going to help you upskill, whereby you don't do the regular things, all those mundane tasks that takes a long time, how to be able to, do those more effectively, better ways, but still being able to have that human override functionality and also being able to review before you push those out. So I can actually speak for GRC. If you're into GRC, start looking at GRC engineering, how to automate things, because creating reports and all that, we're getting past the age of manually creating those. You could write scripts. I've done a couple of gap assessments using like CIS, 18 controls, whereby the moment you're done with the gap assessment, you can easily generate reports, and then be able to have that automated in a way that, reports that would typically take like a week, you do it like in like maybe 3-4 hours, and then you just review and everything looks good. So from that perspective, we're looking more on how to automate things, how to be able to, do things faster, more effective, but also being able to make sure that it's well reviewed, and then you understand, the basics of how to use the AI tool to be able to make your work, better and more effective. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll just add to, so even outside of cybersecurity, you guys, you can start to look at AI governance officer. That's a real thing coming up right now because companies will be mandated to govern their AI. So they will need people in that space. It doesn't matter if you're currently in cybersecurity, that's an area you should be looking at. AI risk advisor is also another area that I'm seeing. Ethical concerns around AI. If you're in HR or something like, or even if you're in procurement, you want to be looking at AI vendor assessment. That's something that will come up that, yes, it will be automated, but they will still need people to oversee that part. Policies are being built. Again, I need to just the person I'm looking at. We have at least 2 people on this call, probably 3, that are already that are certified as lead implementers for AI management system. That's something that would, and we're already saying it. We're already saying that that's also something that would come. So we need to start looking at these options. Addis, please go ahead.
Thank you. I don't know if you called me earlier, but I was busy. I apologize for that, but I kind of kept my ear in as much as possible. When it comes to opportunities that are available now with the introduction of AI, I think people underestimate what could happen. Like there are a lot more opportunities than you realize. So the approach that ask everyone to take, like anyone looking to transition or not, is learn as much as you can about cybersecurity, what the intersection is between cybersecurity, AI, and your work, like your current job. Look at the intersections there. What could AI help you do better in your job? And then what are the, like, what are the security controls that you could implement in that space? Like where your job intersects with AI, right? So if you're in, I actually invited a friend of mine or an acquaintance that her background is in finance and banking and is looking to make the transition into cybersecurity. So I don't know if she's here or if she would listen to this later on, but I would like to share that link with her actually. But what I told her earlier was you're already doing it. You just don't realize that you're doing it. So if you're looking at the intersection, if you're looking to see, okay, how can AI and cyber, like what can I do with AI with the introduction of AI now? Look at what AI is already doing now, understand the concepts of cybersecurity, and then even in your current role, ask the questions to your managers and to your like to the higher ups that, okay, this is what AI is already doing, but do we have full visibility into what it is actually doing? Where is that data being stored? Where is it passing through? What information is it touching? What storage is it touching? And if you're asking those questions, they would start to realize that, okay, this person knows a bit about this. Maybe we should give them more responsibility. And before you know it, when that opportunity comes along, or when they start having conversations in their rooms or whatever, they think of you because you're the one that's asking the questions. So you can already start having those conversations now without having all the titles or without having the certifications. But essentially look at the intersection between what you're doing now, what AI is doing for you, and cybersecurity and the concepts in cybersecurity, and start to talk about it. And yeah, that's what I think you can do to get started today.
Yeah, I like that. It's interesting that you mentioned that this is someone you know as well. And I can't remember his name. One of the people you trained and that is now certified. I can't remember his name. You know what he did? One of his the company he works for, I think they're in healthcare and maybe they're in support or something. But he realized internet that they were implementing AI. He wrote a whole thing based off of his new knowledge on how they can govern AI. He said whether they give him a job as a result of that or not, I don't know. At least at this time, I don't know. But what I know he got was an audience with the C-level.
That's what, honestly, I feel like that's what a lot of people don't realize is
Yes,
if you're the first one having those conversations, you automatically, instantly put yourself in front of higher ups
absolutely.
immediately.
And
And you
the
cut the
position
line.
he had, it was more like, of course, not even a supervisor. And it's as far as I understood at the time, he wasn't even a supervisor. And he got a meeting because we had to prepare him for how to take on that session and all of that. He got an audience with the chief compliance officer and the head of HR because they were trying to implement it for HR. So that's what you can start
Yeah,
to do for yourself right now. Now,
absolutely.
one thing I would also say is that you have to, like you already said, look at the intersection of your current job, AI, and then data governance, because AI cannot live without data. So data governance and security, you can't help it. Those two things combined, you can't help it. If you understand those two, or at least you want to go a bit technical, data pipeline, how data pipeline works. Combining that, you will be a hot cake. Now, and you don't have to change your job, like it's exactly what we're saying. You don't even have to change your job right now to be an AI expert. You can be a niche professional, AI niche professional, like AI professional within your niche. You will not be out of a job. You'll probably not even be laid off in your job because if they're making changes, they're going through any time transformation, there's a good chance that it's AI related. And if you're the AI expert, you're the person they want to put in front of it. So start looking at that right now. Um, and if you're not technical, you want to work on policies, risk assessment. I think I mentioned all of that earlier. That's on the governance side. Those are the guys that will determine how AI operates or what is acceptable for AI within your organization before the technical side of it, data engineering, this and that before they come into it. You are the person that would determine how AI operates. So like the kingmaker kind of thing. So within your organization. Does anyone have another contribution? We have 5 minutes to the end. And we always give like 15 minutes after party after. Yeah, I know love.
So I have a question here. I set up like an home lab. I mean, like I said earlier, I'm in school, right? I set up
Yes.
an home lab and I got into the CIS benchmarks. And I was thinking about it, right? So since the CIS benchmarks are kind of like requirements for you to add in your system, and I heard someone speaking about CIS control, the 18 controls. Is there a way to kind of automate? Because applying the benchmark controls manually would be an hassle on one, let's say, VM. Then imagine you having to manage 300 VMs. You cannot apply CIS manually. There has to be some form of automation. And I downloaded a couple of things, the Windows, something SCAT toolkit, but I wasn't able to get that resolved to automate CIs automatically. So if there's anyone that could shed more light into that, so I could apply that in my own lab and keep building up my skills, basically. Yeah.
So, okay, I don't think, Fimekan, I don't think you were part of that project. So one thing, at the enterprise level, there's a good chance that they will have MDMs in place.
Mm-hmm.
So those controls will be automated by policy. And when they deploy your system, it automatically implements or puts those controls on whatever endpoint, even including your servers and all of that. So there are so many automation tools that companies use. I don't know if there's someone else wants to speak to that.
Okay, for his
But
own
that's
labs,
something we've done on our side, Marshall Tech. That's how we automate deployment of controls on endpoints. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so for his own lab settings, he would just need to work on his templates because he doesn't have the tool sets.
Yes.
And I have similar structures. I've worked with be it EXI or Kubernetes. You just need to define, once you create that first template that confirms or aligns with the CIS controls, you use that template going forward. And you need to keep updating the templates from time to time because it gets outdated. That'd be a patch, be a security update. So that's just what you can do from our home settings. Except if you want to find some tool set that will offer you maybe a 7 days trial. Except if you have $1 million budget for your home lab, you can then get the tools. But like you said, it's a template approach for an home lab settings. You fix your template, and then you build it up. But in an enterprise environment, you have quite a number of tools. You could run your Nexus scanner, you cross your onion to see what is going on, and then you do your group policies and patching things up and pushing out that update or that template across the estate. But for an home lab settings, and also from a point of view, even in an enterprise place, after you agreed on a template for your Windows or for your whatever operating system, based on security patches, a lot of things, applications, that templates become what you use to roll out to deploy new VMs, be it a cloud VM, be it an on-prem VM. And so, but for an home lab settings, which I also do, template is your own, except you have the money to spend it. But in a budget constrained environment, fix your first template, make sure it's compliant with the CIS controls, make sure your first domain controller is compliant, define your group policies from that endpoint, from that standpoint, and then you can continue to update them in time to time. That's what I'm saying.
And it's a similar
thank you very much
at
for
the
that.
enterprise level. Thank you. It's similar. In the cloud, there are IACs. You're using Terraform and the likes, where you automate you would have a template or what we call like a boot template with all the controls in place, and you put them on an IAC and you just automatically deploy them as part of the infrastructure and all that too. So again, defining your policies, defining the controls, and you have to automatically review. In enterprise settings, if it's on the cloud, they're using CSPM and all of that to monitor and understand what changes need to happen from time to time. So, but you're doing the right thing at that level. It's just that when you get into any organization, it's at a different level, and they'll show you how. They'll show you how. What you need to do, let's say get an interview, is to show your knowledge of what you're doing, and they show you how to do it in their own settings. And at different organizations use different tools. So tool, I would say don't be focused on what tool, just be focused on the how, which is what you're doing already. Okay, just as before we end this, I'll just let you all know. So what we do in Marshall Technology is really this. We help people gain hands-on experience and mentorship to get into cybersecurity or build themselves out of whichever role they are in cybersecurity. It doesn't matter where you are, whether you're just starting or you've been in the field for so long. You can, of course, we all want to grow in our careers. That's what we do in Marshall Technology. Our next cohort starts in 2 weeks. The CSMP program, and what you will learn cybersecurity at core. You will learn AI. You would actually do a risk assessment on AI tools, which is what I was talking about earlier, where we did an assessment on Copilot for a certain organization, and a lot of high-opening things people saw, and it was quite interesting. And we'll also mentor you and coach you on how to leverage all these projects that you're working on with us on your resume and how to use them to get opportunity to get jobs in the industry. If you're already an expert in the field and you need a community to grow with, we have a community of experts, growing new experts, existing experts. Some of them are here right now. Some of them are spoken on this call. We have a growing community where we all learn and grow together. One of those sessions is this one. Sometimes we don't put this out. It's just going to be purely internal. For this one, put it out there because, like I said, the more the merrier. We want more people in our community. And if you will learn, if you on a monthly basis, you'll probably have exposure to certain projects, some challenges we take on sometimes, cases that we work on sometimes, even risk management projects that we work on sometimes, and a lot there. AIGP. Okay, I'll let someone speak to that. Maybe as part of after session, after party. So if you're interested, Roy or Ifemi, if you're interested in learning more about what we do, we'll put the link in the chat. Book a session with us so we can speak with you, understand where you are in your journey and exactly how we can help you take the next steps. Or if you're just interested in joining our community, I would also, Celia or anybody, please put it in the chat. It's just $75 per month to be a part of our community, and you'll be glad you did. So it's time for after party. While we're waiting for after party, if you have any questions outside of what we've discussed or related to what we've discussed, you can ask them now. So someone is asking in the chat, I don't know if someone wants to do justice to that. What's your take on AIGP certification? Is it worth pursuing? I don't know AIGP personally. I know other AI certifications that are worth it, but beyond any certification, it's actually knowing how to do the job that matters the most. But yes, certification puts you in front of the world. If it's a practical, hands-on certification, I'd say yes, absolutely. It's worth it for the knowledge you would gain, and of course for the boost of your portfolio boost as well. I don't know if someone wants to say something. If someone wants to say something about that. Okay, so that's the link to the community. Do we have the link for them to book a call with us? So if you want to join our community, or you just at least want to look it up, that's the link in the chat. It's a school community. And again, what we do, we have a calendar path where sometimes we do projects. Every week we talk about how to improve your LinkedIn profile so you can attract opportunities. It doesn't matter if you're just starting or you're just looking for opportunities, consulting opportunity and all of that. How to boost your profile to attract those opportunities, how to take interviews, whether formal interviews or informal interviews, which we all get into from time to time without realizing it. Shared my story about how I got my Deloitte opportunity before I didn't interview. It was just a casual chat that got me the opportunity. Oh, it's offline? School is offline? I have it open right here.
So if you participate or if you choose to enroll for the program, do you get added to the community, or you also
Correct.
to
Yes,
actively?
if
Okay.
you're part of the program, yes, if you join our program, you will join the community. Yes, that's right. For a period of for 1 year period at the minimum. Oh, if you are in Nigeria, Sean, it seems that if you're in Nigeria, you need a VPN. I think it's blocked for Nigeria for whatever reason. It was working, they just blocked it. So if you're in Nigeria, use your VPN to access school. So the link to join is there. The link to book a call with us is there. So come talk to us. We'll be happy to work with you. Our goal is to make sure that you can build a successful career in this field. It's a beautiful field. We've heard people talk about what's happening in that industry. It's always evolving. As long as technology keeps moving, cybersecurity keeps evolving. So we'll always have a job. That's the beauty of this field. We will always have a job. So it's time for after party. You all kind of mute. Let's chat about other things. What's happening in the industry? How are you guys faring in the industry? So the session itself is over. I'll stop recording now, and then we can chat about anything else. And we have this every month.